Okay, so you guys, welcome back to part 3. I actually had to refilm this because I got more information. Listen, if you haven't watched part 2, that's about the way Simon's businesses are fraudulent. I'm sorry. If you haven't watched part 1, that's about the way Simon businesses are fraudulent. If you haven't watched part 2, it's about the way they've been lying to us about how long they've been seeing each other. But there was a lot of confusion. Y'all, let me clarify so everybody knows, and I'm gonna show you the receipts and evidence so you get. Porsha had that tattoo on her neck from Simon at least since January 12th. At least since January 12th. Porsha and Simon have been messing around at least since September of 2020. At least. And when we get to Simon's properties, the planes, the jets, this Nigerian property, all I'm gonna say is, y'all, it's all smoke and mirrors. Okay, I figured it out, y'all. Let's go down the rabbit hole because I promise you it is going to be worth it. All right, with no further ado, let's go. Woo! That's another reason why you need to support, because I need to learn actually how to edit. Aren't y'all tired of this ghetto bootleg editing? I love ghetto. Aren't you tired of this bootleg editing? Woo! That's how I have to do my fade out because I'm so busy splicing things together that I can't get a regular rate. Fake, can that work? No? Okay. Anyway, let's get into the mess. Timestamps are below so you can always fast forward and go to the part you want rewind. Last thing, y'all, talking to you bloggers, I'm talking about to you and to you and to you and to you. You are watching my videos and you are using them as source. I don't care. Just credit me. Does it cost you? I'm a young and humble upcoming channel. Does it cost you anything to give me a shout out or to credit me? Everybody knows you're taking my stuff. Well, not everyone, but everybody is gonna figure out you're taking my stuff. So please, I ask you nicely and respectfully, just give me a shout out. Send them to my channel. Use this as source. My sources are great, but come on, respect the work, just like I will respect your work. All right, in the words of Kempire Daily, please cite your sources. And do you know who is source? Me, I'm source. All right, let's get into it. The neck tattoo, January 12th. I ended the last video saying, you guys, wait for part 3, and you guys were all like, right? But here is part 3. I gave you guys a teaser. A bunch of you guys figured it out. But if you actually look at that video when she is driving, if you actually freeze frame when she turns her head, right? You can see her hair is a certain length. It can't go that far. You can clearly see where the tattoo is, that she has a tattoo the same shape, and of course it's black ink right there where Simon's thing was. That is not a shredded piece of hair. It's not anything. That is that damn tattoo. Now, how do we know that Porsha has had that tattoo for a while? Well, let's get into the timeline for when they actually started dating, but also the timeline of where they actually got engaged, right? Spoiler alert, it was in Costa Rica, but we're going to explain it. And also when. It was when Kate Chastain from Below Deck actually said when she went on vacation with her boyfriend, she said Porsha went on vacation with her boyfriend. Even though nobody knew who the boyfriend was, between the last week of January and the first week of February. Y'all, we had the proof to prove it. But for all of you guys that got from part 2, if you have not seen part 2, watch it after this. You don't have to watch it in order because it's a lot of information. But for all of you guys that saw part 2 and saw it and freeze framed the way I did, congratulations. You guys get the award of the year. But as you see, that is the tattoo right there. And it's in the exact same position, the exact same length. And you guys, please nobody be in the comments being like, that's just her hair. Y'all, we see her hair. We know it's only that big. Stop playing. All right, let's move on. Now, listen, that was just a little Easter egg. If you thought that was a bomb, we have way more stuff. That was something easy. Now let's get into these twists and turns because this evidence is gonna blow your mind into how we actually know that they've been messing around since September and how we know the time frame for when they actually got engaged. Let's go. For all of y'all saying, right, I'm being cynical. Why am I acting like Porsha's chasing the bag? I thought, you know what? You guys are right. Porsha looked and she saw this face and she combined it with that body and she said, yum, yum, give me some. It's true love. And why am I hating on true love? But you guys, let's suspend belief for 1 second. And let's act like Porsha was only trying to chase the bag. Let's talk about the bag that she got, right? Because when you sacrifice everything to chase a bag, you expect certain benefits. There's private yachts, there's private jets, there's fabulous properties all over the world. There's all these perks that come with being with a rich man's woman, right? So let's look at these perks, right? So let's get into the lavish properties that the 3 weddings and a funeral for the haters are going to be held, right? She's going to have 2 in America and 1 in the property in Africa. That's actually pretty interesting because remember when Wendy Williams made this off-color comment, right? And it is a bit xenophobic. I'm not co-signing what she said, but let's just listen to what Wendy had to say.
Don't be impressed. One of the houses out of the country. Let me tell you something right now. And I haven't traveled a lot, but you know how land is cheap and houses are cheap and you can say you have a house, but really it's a trailer on one property in one state, a straw hut in another, and a little something with a shared pool by the community in another. So you have houses. I don't need 3 weddings. I think 3 weddings is...
Simon's response was a doozy because he had to put Miss Wendy Williams in her place. Remember Simon's response? I'll let you see it. All right, that was the response. Now let's slow this video down because look at this gorgeous property that Simon has. There's a fountain. Look at that cute little wheel artifact, right? And look right there, if you slow it down enough, there's Miss Williams not looking too happy. If you notice down in the corner, she has a hand that doesn't have a ring on it. So this is before she was actually engaged, right? Now we know on the timeline that this was all the way, they've been messing around for a while. So this was in February. So he hadn't asked her to marry him yet, but she was there, right? So they're there, right? And she doesn't look too happy, but look at this. It's a gorgeous place, even those spanning views. Look at that. And if you remember, right, if you remember that cake, there was an aerial view, well, not an aerial, but a front view of what that house looked like. It was always my theory that that house was a model of the actual cake, right? Look at that, and you see that. This is actually really nice, and when you look at that, everybody's like, yo, that's Simon's Nigerian property. They're in Nigeria, except for somebody actually brought it to my attention. There's not many women that are cooks that look like that in Nigeria, but I said whatever. So I literally put on my thinking hat, and what did I actually discover? Y'all, once again, just like, right, just like the Miami house and the jets and the chef and the yachts, Simon is a big fan of renting. This lovely 7-bedroom Costa Rican mountain mansion can be yours. It's currently on the market, and it's also used as an exclusive luxury rental. It's currently on the market, and it's also used as a luxury rental. Simon does not own this house. How do we know? Because let's actually look at the video and the pictures they give you if you're interested in renting the house. Do you notice anything? Do you notice anything? Do you notice anything now? What about now? Recognize that wheel? Recognize that fountain? Recognize the view and recognize the furniture? We've found Simon's Costa Rica mansion. The same mansion that he is in Instagram leaning against the steps. These are the steps leading up to the mansion. There's Simon leaning against the steps. You see the potted palms, you see the chairs. Now we see an aerial view, potted palms, chair. Now we see the cake. The cake has the pool in front and it goes up. Simon's leaning against the steps of his rental, just like with the chef and just like with the jets. And just like with everything else, he wants us to believe that he owns it, but this is my point. And why did we think that? Because he literally tried to clown Wendy, if you remember, by saying, "Hut living, how you doing, Simon?" Now two Simons, Grace, if you want to get it, fine, Simon. You have the money to rent it. But again, to be a wealthy man or to be what do you actually own? The place in Miami, Porsha paid for, that was your birthday. The jets are leased, everything's leased, and the Costa Rican home is not even yours. You are renting it. So again, has anybody seen this Nigerian mansion? We look at Fallon's Instagram, even though she scrubbed her Instagram clean of anything dealing with Simon, his wife. There were no pictures of a mansion or a house in Nigeria, right? You look at Porsha's Instagram and his Instagram. And his kids' Instagram. Well, I don't want to get into the kids. Keep it out. But you look at those Instagram. There is no Nigerian and mansion to speak of. Odds are he's gonna borrow one of his friends' mansions. Odds are Porsha didn't do her homework. And she's dating somebody that has enough to rent a vacation house for a week or two to wine and dine her and get it back on her schedule, but not enough to actually own. But it's okay, guys. It's okay, because Porsha wasn't trying to secure the bag. Porsha was in love. She's in love, y'all. Love won. And I want you guys to stop being cynical and stop saying that Porsha got what she deserved for doing shady stuff, because it's not about the money. As a matter of fact, I admire Porsha. I admire Porsha that she took a working class man trying to make a come up. She wasn't kidding when she said, "Y'all, protect black men." She was not kidding when she said she was down for the cause. She's taking an industrial man with ambition and a dream and limited funds, and she is putting him on and elevating her. And I salute her. That's her king. That's who she loves, and she's doing what she should be doing for her king. So I salute you, Porsha. I salute y'all. But just know that Costa Rican mansion, y'all, it's a rental. It's a rental, and it's the same mansion that you see from all these shots. So you know what, Simon Guobadia, how you doing? How you doing, y'all? I know you can't stand Wendy Williams. I know you can't stand her. I get that. But in this time, she was true. So how you doing, Simon? And say hi to that rental too. Let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about how we know they've been talking since September, right? So remember that scene where they went and they visited Fallon, right? Porsha, if you see part 2, you'll know she's wearing the same earrings, same swimsuit, same head thing, only her hair's up in a bun, but it's the exact same outfit, right? And she's acting really weird when they see Simon. Simon goes for a hug. Fallon says, "I'm gonna upgrade the ring," and Porsha looks really pissed, like, "Oh, okay," because you know Porsha, like Kate Chastain says, can really put on a show, right? I have on good authority that they've actually been meeting up, and one of the rendezvous spots was the St. Regis in Atlanta. I talked about this a while ago in an old video, right? But we finally have proof. Look at this, right? So on January 28th, Porsha posted this picture to her Instagram, and I remember thinking when I saw it, I didn't know Atlanta got that hot in January 28th. That's interesting. So you know me, being the messy, nosy person I am, I hop, skip, and jumped over to the Farmer's Almanac that keeps the national weather thing and said, how hot was it on actual January 28th, 2001 in Atlanta? And we found out that it was a nice and balmy 42.5 degrees Fahrenheit with a high of 60 degrees. Now, if you look at that picture, there's a guy behind her sunbathing, because I was like, well, maybe they were just fronting like it was warm and she just wanted to take pictures. But there's a guy behind her sunbathing. And I said, okay, he looks like it's warm too. all right. So then I went to Lauren Summer because she made you see her niece in one of the pictures and she made a comment that Lauren left her, right? So then I went to, so then if you go to Lauren's page, Lauren actually posted on March 24th. Now, even though it was a balmy 65 to 75 degrees on March 24th, it couldn't have been that day, right? Because Lauren, I was like, it couldn't be that day, right? Because Porsha pulled something before, and I was like, okay, well, maybe they posted it before. You know, it was, she wore the outfit again. Except for the fact that I just happened to scroll through. And it was a tip I got that they've been meeting up at the St. Regis. Everybody in Atlanta knew it around September and October, and the rendezvous spot was the St. Regis. So I went to Porsha's feed in September, and I went to Lauren's feed in September. And what do we have here? We have a picture of Lauren bouncing on the beds at the St. Regis with her daughter. Lauren is wearing the same outfit, the polka dot bikini and the neck thing. Her daughter is wearing the two blue things in the same color swimsuit. She even has the little floaty things. And Porsha is also wearing the same swimsuit, the same scarf, and the same earrings. As it happened, filming for that day with the scarf and the swimsuit and the earrings also happened for Real Housewives. Aha! Now, what was the weather September 2nd of 2020? Oh, that was a nice balmy 81 with a high of 89. Now, that's warm enough for somebody to be laying around. However, if you go to Simon's feed, Simon also has a picture at the St. Regis, dressed in black, smoking a cigar. You guys, they've been messing around since September. It's been all over Atlanta. We have the circumstantial evidence, but let's move on because we have more evidence. Now, we can place, right? Well, let's do a little placing, right? We can actually place from the last second video. If you didn't see it, go watch it, right? We can actually place the fact that when Porsha was smiling with that dumb cake, it was the exact same time period that she took the picture of the tattoo, right? How do we know that? We look at the earrings she's wearing when she has showing off the tattoo. We look at the earrings she's wearing, and we also look at the earrings that she's wearing in that with the green dress. It's the same exact rhinestone palm leaf earrings, right? We know that that was actually taken in that same area, that Simon asked her to marry her, because these are the pictures he keeps posting when he shows the ring that he actually gives. We do also know that when she's taking a picture of the ring, in the background there's actual suitcases and stuff. So you weren't home, you were actually traveling. Also, we know that this is the same, he shows the pictures, this and that. We know, and you'll find out later on, that those pictures are actually the place that they got engaged. We know Shamia says it's a girls trip, but she never actually posts pictures of the girls trip, and every other girls trip she goes to, they post pictures. So it was apparently a secret girls trip. Also, we know that who was taking the picture of the engagement when they're standing by that cake, probably the same person that was talking about I'm a lap dog, right? Now, let's roll it back a little bit more. Remember that picture, remember that video that Wendy Williams, that Simon posted in response to Wendy Williams. We're gonna talk about that picture later. But when he said, how you doing, hut living, and he was trying to stick it to Wendy Williams. If you don't remember, here's the picture. So there you go. That was the hut living. Now, if you slow it down, right, what do you notice? You notice that there is a Porsha Williams sitting there. You notice that she does not look too happy. You notice that there's no ring on her finger, but it is a fresh set of white nails, right? You notice all that. Now, again, this is just me being investigative, right? You also notice what's on her plate, right? You notice what's on her plate. Now watch this.
Chef. Morning, friends. We have a beautiful brunch this morning here in Costa Rica. A typical brunch. I make a sweet plantain. I make a frittata. Gallo pinto is so typical here in Costa Rica. Rice and beans, orange juice, coffee, more important. Salchicha, sour cream, fruits. Look, these fruits, tropical fruits here. Fresh toast, and some champagne here. I make a mimosas. Only here in Costa Rica, friends. Pura vida. Pura vida. Alright, chef.
So you notice what's on her plate and what we saw in the video. She has the cut melon, she has the mango, she has the eggs, she has the red beans and rice, she has the damn turkey bacon, she has everything that the chef actually prepared. Now, if you look in that video from the chef, you'll see the background furniture and you'll see the trim. And you'll also see the floor. This is the exact same house. Simon posted this in March, but we know he wasn't in Costa Rica in March. Why? Because he posted pictures of himself on a boat on February 16th. Now, everybody's been posting pictures out of order, I think, to throw everybody off the trail because they know they need to keep up with this big lie, right? But let's just take Simon for his word, and he actually posted that picture the day he was actually on the boat, which is no later than February 16th. This falls perfectly in line with Kate Chasten's timeline of her going away the end of January, February with her boyfriend and coming back, which had Porsha so spooked. It has it completely in line. Porsha has a fresh set. She has the same earrings that she was wearing when she was showing off her tattoo. At that time, the tattoo was fresh. This what makes sense. Well, it wasn't fresh actually, it was but it would make sense that she's wearing the earrings, she's wearing the covers up, and it also would make sense when Shamia's talking about girls trip, right? It would make sense that Shamia, her hubby and Porsha are actually accompanying Porsha to that mansion. We'll talk about the mansion where it's located, was actually accompanying her to the mansion, because since they introduced Simon and Porsha, and since Shamia was the plug to Simon and Porsha, Simon will want Shamia and her husband to be witness for when he asked for Porsha's hand in marriage. Y'all, Porsha got engaged at the very latest the end of January, early February. She already had that tattoo by January 12th. We saw it, and we know from gossip, along with her along with her Instagram feed and cross combined with Lauren's Instagram feed, that her and Simon were meeting up at the St. Regis in September. As a matter of fact, she's wearing the same damn outfit, talking about Lauren's gone, all this other stuff on her feet. But I'll let y'all go through that because I told you guys enough. But you guys, we have even more. And we have that freeze frame where she has a fresh set of white nails. She's sitting there looking mad, and she has the same breakfast that the chef in that house actually prepared, down to the goddamn rice and beans. Y'all, we have an ID. They've been very, very smart trying to move things around and hide things, but there's only so much that you can hide. They thought they were slick, but there's only so much there's only so much that you can hide. Next, we have the private jets. And this is one of the things he loves bragging about. Y'all, the private jets. Have you ever heard of Sahara jets? Have you? Because if you haven't, I'm about to tell you. Sahara jets is basically like an Uber for private jets. The people that own the private jets, which will usually be some type of company, hedge fund, whatever, they literally have Ubers where you pay to charter the jet. You do not lease it for months. You literally charter a private jet to go from A to B. Now, what does this have to do with Mr. Guavadia? Well, I'll tell you. Simon's favorite jet is a 13-seater Gulfstream from usually from Atlanta to Miami or Atlanta to Fort Lauderdale. Now, if you want to know, Sahara Jets is running a special from Atlanta to Miami and Atlanta to Costa Rica, which is good because we're about to talk about Simon's private properties. But let's talk about that, right? They service Europe, they service Africa, and thank goodness they service the continental US, but you can get them to fly anywhere. Now, when you look at the special they're running from from Atlanta to Miami, it's $8,000, right? Which seems like a lot until you remember that there's 13 people traveling, right? First of all, the average price of a ticket from Atlanta to Miami is about $350 unless you find a deal. You times that by 13 people, you're already pretty much at $6,000. But let's not forget that Mr. Gobadia has to maintain two images. One, he has to impress his hot, young, newest potential trophy wife / fiance, Porsha Williams. Porsha Williams cannot be seen with her billionaire Nigerian Jeff Bezos' boyfriend getting on ValueJet or Ryanair as it was. Simon started flying private once he started making that big push for Fallon to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like many Real Housewives of Atlanta house husbands, you know you have to fake it till you make it. Simon is paying that extra premium of maybe an extra $1,000 or $2,000 to keep up appearances because he knows that if he can get this image over, he's pretty much secured his spot. Not only the Real Housewives, but he's wormed his way into Miss Porsha Williams. But it's okay. But let's get into the juicy stuff. The multiple businesses. Now, if you watch my video for the multiple businesses, you will know he does not check off for multiple. A little spicy. He does not check off for multiple businesses, you guys. We all know that in Texas, Nevada, allegedly, in Texas, Nevada, where else? Even in some parts in Atlanta, Texas, Nevada, and California, it was revoked. In Atlanta, he had let those businesses be non-compliant, but then in 2020, he paid the back dues for 2019. So now those businesses are compliant until 2023. However, you guys, he wasn't allowed to do business. So even though those businesses exist, he wasn't allowed to do business under them in the state of Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, until they were compliant. They didn't get compliant until 2020. Again, there was no business done for his Simcoe Petroleum. You see that he took off CEO of them. Anyway, watch the video, you'll see it. Now let's get in what we came for. The lavish international properties. Woo! Get ready, grab your popcorn, because this is what you came here for. And we're gonna address Wendy Williams and why she was more right than Simon could ever be wrong. We got the private chef, right? Now, first of all, I want to apologize to Chef Alex, that's her name, for dragging that house, because I've looked at Chef Alex's Instagram and she's actually quite talented and quite the cook. So when I look at what she's capable of doing, and when I look at what she delivered to Simon, I'm forced to believe one thing, that she, like many of us, hates Simon's guts. And this was her passive aggressive way to get back at him, because when you look at the quality of her work and you look at what she actually delivered, there's something missing, right? Now let's talk about his private chef. This is something that Simon likes to do. If we read off the Instagram, this is something he likes to do. He likes to live in the shadows, so you don't really know. Now, for anybody that's ever spent any time overseas or in villas, you know that when you rent the villa, you can also rent a chef with it. The chef is not necessarily your private chef, but you rent them with the villa. They're like, how many meals do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you want snacks? Do you want this, this, that, and the third? And they give you a price. He implied that this was his private chef, and as he travels the world, she keeps him so healthy. When the truth is, she's a private chef to anybody that comes to Costa Rica and or wants to travel to Colombia. She is a chef, she is a tour guide, she's everything. And I'm not taking anything away from Chef Alex, but the fact that Simon tried to make it seem like it was his private chef, when really she just hires him on a day basis, on a week basis, and she has not cooked or seen him since he left Costa Rica. Okay, so y'all remember when Porsha posted up that thing where she was like, Shamia was like up, and when Simon and Porsha were kissing, and Shamia was like up and mother loving stuck, and she said, "Thank you, Bessie matchmaker," and everybody dragged Porsha because they're like, there you go again, being messy, dragging people into your mess. Yeah, Shamia was the African plug. Shamia is the African plug. Shamia may or may not have set them up together, but let me tell you what Shamia does do is set a damn timeline, even by her antics, of when they couldn't have been messing around. Now let's look at this, right? Shamia, remember that picture everybody was dragging her for when she was the lap dog? Right? She's sitting there. Look at Porsha. Look at what Porsha is wearing and look at Shamia's hair. Now let's talk about when Shamia got her hair done. Shamia got her hair done on around April 1st because the hairdresser that did Shamia's hair posted a picture. She got her hair in that braid around April 1st. She took them out around the end of the week because she had work or something or other. Okay, fine. Look at the dress Porsha is actually wearing. This picture that Shamia posted is actually posted, I believe, on April the 3rd. Her hair was done April the 1st. We know that they haven't been posting pictures in order. Now, does anything look familiar to you? Does anything look familiar to you? Look at the dress Porsha's wearing. Does it look familiar now? Why do you think it looks familiar? Shamia was the one that took the picture of Porsha and Simon. Shamia was there. That's why Shamia took that joke that played herself being like, do I look like a lap dog? Why did she think that? Because she was there on that date. But y'all, look at the way they're kissing. Look at the way they're hugged up. That wasn't their first date. It was just a date that Shamia drove them on. Now let's delve a little deeper into Shamia, right? We know Porsha was third wheeling it with her on New Year's Eve. It is unclear on whether Simon was there or not. Circumstantial evidence shows probably Simon was there more often than not, but we're not sure, right? But we know that Porsha was definitely there. We also know that Shamia was in Simon's birthday in the Miami Beach celebration. We see that because Shamia posted pictures on her Instagram with, I don't know why, Shamia has an obsession with having her leg up like a dog and even, I'm a lap dog. I don't know what it is, right? She posted, so she was definitely there on Simon's birthday. But do you know what else she was on too? We all know that Porsha, by Kate Chaston, her ex co-host by Bravo Chat Room, had Porsha being on vacation with her boyfriend, Kate Chaston's words, not mine, where she was acting funny around January, the end of January, the beginning of February. And she said that when Porsha came back, she was acting super, super, super funny, right? Okay, fine. How else can we place Porsha there? For one, Shamia posted pictures of herself at the Fontainebleau on 2/19 saying girls trip, right? Porsha also posted herself at that Fontainebleau, because it's the same background, on February 27th when she was posing in that red dress. And we know they post pictures out of order. However, when we go, we can place Shamia, who's always next to Simon, who was the person that Porsha kept in between them, right? And she was the plug and the hookup. We know she was there on the date. We know she took the pictures. We know they started messing around before, but let's pay attention to that girls trips 2/19. Now, we already know that Porsha on January 12th had that tattoo, right? So this, right now, we're trying to place not when they actually were messing around, because that was all the way back in September 2nd. We've confirmed that by the St. Regis. Now we're trying to place, when did they actually get engaged? When did they get engaged? And no, it wasn't on Mother's Day, and it wasn't even in March. When did they get engaged? All right, let's get into that.